Against the rules, they're not supposed to be allowed to lock in and grab onto the kicks and kick the supporting leg. If they grab the leg and don't kick, they're subject to possibly a warning. If they grab the leg and deliver a kick or a punch afterwards, they could be penalized a point.
And certainly, of course, that is something that is illegal at any time in American fighting rules. So it will be something for Roufus to adjust to. And frankly, it'll be something for Kiatsongrit to adjust to, because he's not allowed to do something that he does by reflex in the ring. It should be interesting. Rick Roufus, again, probably hits harder than anybody Kiatsongrit has run into. The question will be, can he get there before Kiatsongrit gets to his legs?
Well, the one real advantage I think that Rick the Jet Roufus will have is that he has tremendous footwork. He's very, very slick in the ring. He moves very, very well. He's not an easy target. He doesn't stand still and let anybody come at him under any circumstances. So he's not going to be an easy guy. He could be causing the Thai a lot of problems with his footwork.
Well, we are about to find out. In a lot of cases, on some tapes of Thai fighting, I've seen the ceremony takes longer than the fight. Let's hope that's not the case here, as we're just about ready. Now, these will be 3-minute rounds with a 1-minute break, Jeff.
That's my understanding, yes.
Round number 1. And Roufus goes right to the legs. Rick Roufus in the long pants, Kiatsongrit in the short pants. Roufus with a big bang into the ribs there. Took one coming back from it, but he landed one in the ribs there that I guarantee you his family back in Thailand felt. A right and a left by Roufus. Roufus moving around very well. Spinning back kick into the belly. That hurt the Thai. Kiatsongrit is a little confused because Roufus is all over him right now and hitting him very hard. He is not getting off the kicks, is not Kiatsongrit, and Roufus is backing him up.
Rick Roufus starting off like a whirlwind in here, not giving the Thai a chance to really get set. Throwing lots of straight shots, lots of good punching techniques, and moving in and out and moving away from those kicks.
He's doing beautifully here, and Kiatsongrit, quite frankly, John, looks to me a little bit confused. Now, that one landed high on the calf of Rick Roufus next to the knee joint, and he buckled a little bit and got out of the way. Roufus very good on his distance, and that's what's keeping him alive here. Kiatsongrit, does he look confused to you, John?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said there.
Does Kiatsongrit look confused to you in there?
He looks to me like he is a little confused by the style and footwork of Rick Roufus, and he has been stung a couple times. He's felt a lot of the power of Rick Roufus.
Halfway through this first round, these are 3-minute rounds with a 1-minute break, and as you can hear, the crowd is very, very into this. It's sort of evenly divided. The Thai contingent rooting for the Thai fighter, everybody else rooting for Rick Roufus, and the crowd very much into this. Roufus, again, being cautious, keeping track of the distance. The Thai fighter beginning to be a little bit more aggressive. His name is Kiatsongrit. He took a left hand there, and he's down. Rick Roufus landed a left on the jaw, and the Thai fighter, Kiatsongrit, just crumbled and is bleeding from the mouth, I believe, John. I can't see for sure, but that was a great shot by Roufus, and Kiatsongrit is hurt. Roufus wants to get on, hits him again and knocks him down. Kiatsongrit is down again, and you can see his eyes are a little glassy, John. We've got just about 30 seconds left in this first round. Kiatsongrit has got to survive 30 seconds here and is trying to hold on to do it. Roufus does not want to let him have it. Roufus is getting inside of those kicks, and he is landing the big punches, and Kiatsongrit has never come across this kind of power, I don't think.
Roufus doing a great job of keeping the pressure on. Kiatsongrit showing tremendous heart to stay in there after being knocked down twice. He's fighting back on courage and on heart and on instinct.
He is one tough fella. There's no two ways about that, and he is still rubbery-legged. But we are up to the end of round number 1. At the end of that round, and you'd have to say that's about as good as you're going to do against a guy you've never seen fight like this before. Rick Roufus acquitting himself very well as we look into the corner of Kiatsongrit.
They're over there working on Kiatsongrit, feverishly trying to bring him back from that left hand. Rick Roufus has one of the quickest and strongest left punches you'll ever see anywhere. We're going to see that now. He comes across with a kick, follows up over the top with a straight left right there. And you can see Kiatsongrit's knees go out from under him, and he goes back into the ropes. That was a hard shot.
Great work by our cameraman on that one. I got to tell you, that was a dandy little shot. It didn't look like a whole lot, but I just don't think Kiatsongrit has ever been hit like this.
You can see once again Rick Roufus coming on strong here, just keeping the pressure on. This is after that first knockdown. A right hook that misses, a left straight shot that comes straight through, and you can see crossed his eyes.
Yep. Round number 2, we're just about ready for here. A lot of ice in that corner, and referee Tom Schlesinger has to hold up the count here for just a second while they get that ice out of the corner. They did everything. Put ice on his face, poured ice down the front of his trunks, trying to wake him up. That's one of the things you'll do with a fighter who's hurt. And you can see now that Kiatsongrit certainly is ready to come out for this round, but they've got to clean up that corner.
Oh,
you can see the ice.
They've absolutely created a nice palace over there. I mean, they must have enough ice to skate on. They have a 1 point.
And that's something you pretty much have to do in that situation, don't you, John?
Well, he is. He's just creating a tremendous distraction and delay, which, of course, is giving that fighter time to get back.
And again, Rick Roufus, the long pants. Kiatsongrit, the Thai fighter, in the short pants. Roufus takes one in the back of the knee there. And he is, as you pointed out, John, the key here is Roufus's footwork. Roufus is dancing away from a lot of this stuff.
He's making the Thai miss just like he did then. He's throwing lots of left-hand lunges. He's moving in, attacking the body and moving away. There's an attack to the knee.
And that would look like it hurt Roufus's knee. There's a left hand over the top and another left, and Roufus is inside. Roufus lands a right. The Thai fighter again is stunned a little bit. I don't know that he's badly hurt, but he is aware that he's being hit. Once again, Kiatsongrit lands a good kick on the back of Roufus's knee. That is dangerous stuff. You can see the Thai folks all around the ring here exhorting their fighter, and Rick Roufus is willing to stand and trade as long as he can do it. Roufus hit there in the leg. Roufus would like this to be a close quarters fight, John.
He's trying to work inside. He's trying to step inside and land the left hand. The Thai is doing a good job of keeping his hands up and taking away the target. Rick Roufus having to move away from those powerful kicks to the legs.
Now again, Rick Roufus tying him up there as we're halfway through round number 2. And Roufus looks as if he has hurt his knee here just a little bit. He is holding his left knee.
He's slow getting up, and he is. He's moving very gingerly on those legs.
Lands a right, a round kick, and a right and a left from Roufus. Roufus needs to end this one fast, and he lands the left. And Roufus is throwing everything from Iowa. Roufus is throwing the big leather here, trying to get out of this one because he doesn't want damage to his knees. Kiatsongrit has heart, no doubt about it. 1 minute left in this round. Kiatsongrit, the Thai fighter, stalking Roufus, handling the distance well.
Now, it'll be interesting to know how the judges are going to score this because in a Thai fight, oh no, Rick Roufus was stomped when he was down.
Now, you wonder about that. I'm not sure. The referee is calling time. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. It's hard to tell, to be honest, but I think that's probably illegal. We'll get a shot at that again. Rick Roufus was, in the course of being caught with that kick, fell down. The Thai fighter stomped him in the stomach. Now, I think that's probably fair when it's a straight...
Well, obviously, when the guy's down, you can't attack him, and he got stepped on pretty hard. Rick Roufus probably was relaxed a little bit at that time. He took a lot of force in the stomach. So
and Rick is looking a little bit hot under the collar right now. And they'll give Rick some time to relax from this.
We're going to take a look at this. There's the back kick that misses. Rick Roufus is tripped up and goes down. He's obviously down. And here comes that stomp. And there's a pretty strong stomp. Right on, just squashed him right on the stomach there.
We've got a little bit of a melee here at ringside if we can get a look at it. What we have is a lot of people trying to communicate with Tom Schlesinger, the referee. And there is a language problem going on here. Well, there you have it. Don't you do that. I guess that's Thai and American both at the same time. Don't you do that. And again...
If he does it again, I'll have to disqualify him.
Tom Schlesinger telling him if he does that again, if he stomps on him or does that sort of thing again, he will be disqualified.
You know, we really probably ought to say some good things about Tom Schlesinger. This is not an easy thing for him to be dealing with. This is new to him, too, and he's handling himself pretty well in this fight. He hasn't let this fight get out of control on him, and has every potential to. As you can see, the crowd up around the ring, standing up close around the ring and standing up close and very tight behind us. And again, we are back going here. There should be about 30 seconds left here in round 2, John.
Rick Roufus trying to finish this thing with a knockout. He really doesn't like this. He doesn't like the idea of getting those legs kicked. He's trying to land again with the left hand.
Good spinning back fist by Roufus that landed and shook Kiatsongrit up. A high round kick to the jaw, but to do it, he had to take one to the back of the knee. And I'm thinking Roufus probably... Hang on to your seats, folks. Do not go away. This is going to get better. We'll be right back. We're back at the Sands Hotel and Casino here in Las Vegas, and as you look around, look into the corner of Rick Roufus, he has been taking a lot of punishment to his legs, and he also got himself stomped in the belly a while back.
We're going to see these leg kicks that come just driving in there to Rick Roufus. He throws a back leg round kick, and we had 2 points deducted in that last round.
One of them was for stomping Roufus in the belly. I'm not sure what the other one is for, John. The ice in the corner. They didn't get out of the corner.
Yeah, the ice in the corner, and then the second one was for the stomp.
And they are creating yet another avalanche in the corner over there. And once again, as we start for round 3.
Well, this is a tough one to score. I've got Rick Roufus ahead by 3 points.
How can you tell?
Because, yeah, Kiatsongrit lost 2 points out of the last round. He won that last round, Kickboxing by 10-8 or 10-9, but he lost 2 points because of all the problems.
Rick Roufus, again, an American fighter, not used to these rules in the long red pants. Kiatsongrit is not used to being hit. That's a legitimate knockdown. Well, now Slessinger's calling that one a slip.
The way that works, the kicks to the legs don't get called as knockdowns, they get called as sweeps. So again, it doesn't count as a knockdown.
Roufus with a good left to catching Kiatsongrit coming in. Kiatsongrit, a tough young man. Roufus has hurt him a lot, and he's still there. Roufus taking a lot of stuff on his legs here, and you have to wonder if Rick Roufus isn't wondering why in the world he took this fight.
Roufus needs to go back to the plan of moving in more. He's not attacking enough, and he's got to use that type of thing. Straight shots, those side kicks and front kicks can do something to stop a little bit.
Now, Roufus, as you say earlier in the fight, was doing that and scoring very well. Shook Kiatsongrit up badly in the first round. Now he seems to want to dance away, and that's not working. Quite honestly, it's not working.
Good left hand then by Roufus.
A left and a right.
He's catching the Kiatsongrit go down at the very end of those punches. He's not really hitting in close enough and short enough to have a lot of steam on him.
And there's another potential problem. When Kiatsongrit comes in to kick, Roufus drops one hand down to block the kick, throws a punch with the other hand, leaving himself wide open. 1:30 left to go in round number 3. We are halfway through round 3. Kiatsongrit landing the kicks, and Rick Roufus looking a little bit tentative for the first time. Good left and a right and a left by Roufus as he is fighting from the right side. Comes up with a good uppercut into the ribs that shook Kiatsongrit. Crowd very vocal in the background. John and I can hardly hear each other. There's 1 minute left in round number 3. That shot to the legs hurt Roufus.
Roufus again landing those punches, but they're too far extended to really have a lot of sting on.
And he's also not able to get a rotation of his hips to throw the punch, John, because he's got bad legs now.
His legs are obviously bothering him. He's really having a problem.
Now there's a throw by Kiatsongrit, which under normal circumstances is legal. I'm not sure if it's legal in this fight or not, John. Are you?
We didn't really discuss that. We didn't discuss whether it is legal. It's okay. I think that there should be no warnings issued on that because we really discussed that.
And Roufus's legs are clearly hurting him.
Once again, Tom Schlesinger warning him about the throws.
Rick Roufus is over here limping, obviously legs bothering him. If Roufus is going to win this, he's going to have to do it fast.
The problem... Oh, he's penalizing 3 points. Oh, my goodness.
Well, now that's strange. What are the 3 points coming from now? Roufus with a good kick into the ribs. And again,
Rick Roufus just taking, his legs are just taking an absolute pounding.
And you wonder if Roufus isn't being just a little bit too brave here. He doesn't really have much to lose in this thing. He ought to just forget it right now if his legs... Listen, we're talking about a potential world champion here. And you just wonder... Well, it is wild and woolly at the Sands, folks, and we're going to have more after this.
The problem that we're having right now, the problem that we're having in this fight is that as we see this hip throw that Kiatsongrit throws on Rick Roufus, is that we have fighters fighting in two different games, and they really haven't had a chance to work the rules out to the point where both fighters are comfortable with some sort of a blended set of rules, and it's causing an awful lot of discussion and an awful lot of unhappiness on the part of both sides, I would say.
And add to that the language barrier. Obviously, Tom Schlesinger, our referee, who I think is maintaining pretty decent control of this fight, considering, but he doesn't speak Thai. The Thai fighters don't speak English. It's very hard for him to communicate with them in there, and they, of course, are probably feeling slighted by these points penalizing. But then again, the rules are the rules.
We're going to see another strong leg kick here. Bang, right on the inside there of the knee, taking Rick Roufus down. I mean, that's got to be incredibly painful.
Anybody who's ever played a minute of football can tell you how bad that hurts, let alone kickboxing. Rick Roufus. Rick Roufus now trying to keep away from the legs of Kiatsongrit, and probably his safest haven is as close to Kiatsongrit as he can get. Roufus has the power. Kiatsongrit has never been hit the way Roufus can hit him. And Roufus is hurt now. He tried to spin fist there, and he got kicked, I think, and he is down and hurting. It is not that from a punch. His legs are killing him at the moment. Rick Roufus in the corner. Can we hear this?
Well, he's staying in there. They ought to stop. His corner ought to stop this.
They really should. This is a case of Rick wanting to be too honorable here. This is an exhibition fight.
He's really taking a chance on suffering some permanent injury.
If he's going to stay, John, he just ought to get right up on the guy and let him have it. Otherwise, he's...
Kiatsongrit looking very, very strong now. Just obviously extremely aggressively coming in with those leg kicks.
Well, he knows clearly, and the referee, Tom Schlesinger, has stopped this fight, and probably that's a very smart thing to do. Roufus really is not being hurt by punches. What he is being is hurt in the legs, and this is something that it's silly to take any more risk. Roufus, as you can see there by our camera, is in some considerable pain, and they seem to be, well, it's hard to tell where on his legs they're working. Looks like the left one at the moment, the right one at the moment, from this angle.
Well, that's really potentially a very serious situation. Rick Roufus just had his legs pounded there for almost 5 rounds. Kiatsongrit came back, showed tremendous courage in being able to come back from that knockdown in the first round.
And you really wonder at the wisdom of taking this fight on the part of Rick Roufus, game as he might be and as great a competitor as he is. Bill Wallace is in there working on Roufus. Wallace, obviously with some experience in knee injuries and leg injuries.
We're going to see now Roufus spinning around, but catching it right in the very back of that right knee. And you can see just great pain as he goes down.
And what we are seeing now is Wallace. Bill Wallace is in there. You can see his hands there checking the stability of that joint, trying to check for ligament damages. Let's go up to Chuck Hall to get the official time on this one. Our ring announcer, Chuck Hall.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 1 minute, 23 seconds of the 5th round. The winner by TKO, Kiatsongrit.
Well, you can't take it away from Kiatsongrit. He did what his job was to do in that fight, and he won, and did very well doing it. Rick Roufus is still down, and Bill Wallace is still working on the knee, the right knee of Rick Roufus.